Dave Gettleman was vocal yesterday via a statement, hasn't met with the media yet, but he issued a statement in connection with the trade of Odell Beckham Jr. And the GM of the Giants said, "You can win while you build a roster. We do have a plan, and this is a part of it." Now, if they have a plan now, it clearly wasn't the plan they had last year, Chris, because I don't think the plan consisted of don't trade Odell Beckham Jr., pay him $21.45 million for 12 games, and then trade him after that. I don't think that was the plan. So I'm not sure what their plan was a year ago, and I think that if they have a plan now, it's different than whatever the plan was last year at this time.
Yeah, I definitely think so. No, last year at this time, it was all about, Eli Manning and Odell Beckham Jr., and we're going to put a better supporting cast around Eli and make it work. Well, that changed some point during the season where I honestly think they realized Odell Beckham Jr. is exposing Eli Manning and putting more pressure on Eli Manning, and I think that's part of the reason he's probably out of town from that aspect. So I think that's interesting. I mean, the big thing here is I do believe the Giants have a plan. They're a smart organization. Dave Gettleman, this is not his first rodeo. John Mara, the Tisch family, all of them. I mean, these are smart people who have run a pretty good organization for a long, long time here. But I guess the big question, though, is, Mike, is the plan draft a quarterback and continue to build a team? And, yeah, they're not quitting on the year. Or are they going to just go all in and go, no, Eli's the quarterback, and we're not going to draft a quarterback, and we're going to draft more players to support him once again, which I think is crazy. I just wonder which way they are going to go in that conversation.
I think they're going to go with a hybrid approach. Now that they have 2 first-round draft picks, they're going to use one on a guy who comes in and helps now,
right,
and another one on a quarterback. And Eli can't be as upset about that. Although he could say, look, you trade away Odell Beckham Jr., we already had a first-round draft pick. Get me 2 impact players who can come in and help right away and help us get to where we need to be.
That's what I mean, right. Yeah.
And regardless of how this plays out, we were talking about this yesterday, Chris, if it goes well and they exceed all expectations, they have a big year, do you let Eli Manning walk away? Or do you try to keep him? What do you do? And if it goes poorly, when do you pull the plug and just tank and hope that you can end up in position with one of the top 3 picks in the draft to get a great quarterback next year if you like one of the quarterbacks? And I'm going to go back to something Tony Dungy said last year regarding what the Giants should do. He said, evaluate the quarterbacks in this draft class, and if you think one is going to be your franchise guy, you take him regardless of Eli Manning. Kind of a twist on the same story he told you last week about the Steelers having Terry Bradshaw and not drafting Dan Marino.
Right.
Forget about who you have. If you love the guy that's there, take him. And the same thing applies this year. If at number 6 or at number 17 they love the guy that's there, then you take him and you make him the guy who fits your KC model. But you're not going to know until you're on the clock and that guy either is there or isn't there that you love as your future quarterback.
No, you're right. And I mean, that's why they, they got the number 6 pick, the number 17 pick. So they got the leverage or the picks there to move up if they have to, if they feel like, oh gosh, we got to get up to number 2 or number 3, whatever that may be. That's a possibility.
But doesn't that make it even more likely that they're not trying to win now? If you invest both of your first round picks into your future quarterback who's going to sit this year,
I mean,
aren't you telling the world that's exactly what you're doing?
I mean, yes, it does seem that way, but I'll throw out the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, they had Alex Smith, and they did that, and they went to the playoffs that year with Patrick Mahomes on the bench, right? So it's not the first time. The Ravens certainly didn't, close up shop this year. They went into the season going, we're going to the playoffs. Joe Flacco got hurt and all that, and Lamar Jackson got a chance to play and played well and did that, but they were also rebuilding while trying to win, so I don't think it's totally crazy. But, yeah, I think that's the million-dollar question. And, yeah, I mean, hey, again, I think as a Giants fan and everything I look at, I think the Giants are letting Eli Manning kind of have too much power in this whole conversation altogether. But at the same time, hey, they've made their bed. They're going forward with it, and I think they're going to play kind of a different style of football. Without Odell Beckham Jr. there, they're going to run the ball. They still got Sterling Shepard and Evan Ingram and that type of talent around them. And I think Pat Sherman can make all that work too.
We talk all the time about moves that are made for business reasons, and Le'Veon Bell joining the Jets. I think part of that money is being spent not necessarily for football, but because having Le'Veon Bell on the team is a good sales approach to get people to choose to come to the games, to choose to watch the games, to buy the jerseys, to be excited. And I feel like the Giants kind of have that idea turned on its head with Eli Manning. They went through it a couple years ago when Ben McAdoo did that clumsy, awkward benching of Eli Manning and the fan base lost their minds. I feel like they're keeping Eli Manning as long as they are because they're afraid of how their fans are going to react. That it's like disowning a member of your family. And the fans, even though they want to reserve the right to complain about Eli's performance, they want Eli there as long as he wants to be there. He secured a lifetime pass from that fan base by winning 2 Super Bowls. Tom Coughlin didn't, but Eli Manning did. And the organization has so much more patience with Eli Manning. Because I guarantee you, Chris, if you take away those 2 Super Bowls, he's already gone.
Oh, no,
and if you do
doubt.
if you take Manning off the back of the jersey and you put a mask on his face and you don't know who he is and you watch his film, he's gone.
Yeah.
This is because he won 2 Super Bowls. This is because his name is Eli Manning. This is because the fans love him. That is what's buying him extra chances, and it's dragging down the team. It's similar to what's going on in Pittsburgh, where the fans won't get mad at the team for mismanaging the roster. In New York, the fans are going to get mad at the team if they properly manage the roster.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And that's what drives me crazy. It really does. As a guy that's, I'm a Giants fan. I really am. And I know I have relationships around the NFL, and there's some games where I go, oh, man, hey, it's Kyle Shanahan, and I really like him, and he's a good friend. I'm going to root for the 49ers over the Giants. Yeah, that's what happens when you've been in the business for a while. But when it comes down to it, the Giants are the team that have my heart and the team I root for. And people, I know when they hear me say these things about Eli Manning, hey, this is not personal. It's not. And I know I'm the son of Phil Simms, and it looks like I'm being a hater. No, Eli Manning has been great. I really like Eli Manning. I'm just giving you the football aspect of it. And yes, right now it looks like they're placating or playing to Eli Manning and letting him hold the team hostage, basically, to a degree. And it's a time where, I think it's time to move on. And they might be sacrificing years of quality teams here down the stretch just for this effort to give the swan song so he can walk off into the sunset and everyone could go, oh, look, Eli ended on a good note and it was all great and, hunky-dory. So, from that standpoint, it bothers me as a fan of the Giants and a guy who evaluates football.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.